Hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to the show. This is our first podcast for a while. A little bit of explanation is required as these have been recorded out of sequence. This episode was actually recorded before the episode about sinners, and this was held back just so we didn't have too many with the same guest, i.e. Nate, back to back. However, as the subject of the discussion was Tron, and the new Tron film is about to come out, it seemed like an appropriate time to release this podcast. The good news is that there are more episodes coming out over the next month, and Series 1 should be concluding sometime in November. The premise of this episode is basically a question raised by Nate. Usually guests guide what we talk about, and he wanted to talk about Tron as a franchise. More importantly, why is it a franchise? I was equally perplexed when he asked the question. We dig deep and we get some probable answers. See what you think. Spoilers ahead. Hello and welcome back. Here we are with a returning voice from the pilot series, Nate. Nate, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for allowing me to come back.
We filled the void well and truly. Yours was the longest episode. I had to cut it in two to fit it on YouTube.
I had a lot of opinions.
Well,
I couldn't keep them to myself. We got talking about Star Wars, and I blacked out. I heard it was good.
I saw red, and then then this episode appeared.
I had just absent seizure, and then came to, and I was in the car.
This time we are talking about something completely different, but also kind of not. I guess we'll call the episode Tron. What the hell, Disney? Question mark. What is the point? What is the purpose of Tron? Yeah. What Tron?
Yeah. Tron question mark.
There we go. Even snappier. So I guess we should go back to the beginning to start with broad outline. 1982, a big year for films, and boy, that could be an episode for another day.
Yeah. Incredible year for movies. There's so much formative science fiction cinema in 1982.
Yes, and keeping in mind that films take more than about 20 minutes to produce, you'd have to say what was happening 1, 2, or perhaps 5 years before that, hence the clumsy connection with our previous episode. Yes. Shall we call it the Star Wars effect?
Yeah, I think this is the first, the ripple after Star Wars. Star Wars impacts the world, and then this is we're starting to see movies released that were greenlit immediately after Star Wars.
Not to mention, because 5 years is a long time, and the reason it took them 5 years. So 77, of course, was Star Wars. The production of this film took a while. Many of them beat Disney to the punch by coming out. I mean, Roger Corman, the B-movie king, pumped out several Star Wars rip-offs in about...
Well, we had a Star Wars sequel before this. The Empire is 1980. So
that's true. And Return of the Jedi was, I'm sure, at that point, known to be in production.
Yeah.
Of course, it came out in 83. And you had Spielberg... even James Bond went to space in 79.
Yes.
Which is definitely a thing everybody should watch and not make fun of at all.
No, that holds up. That has not aged a day. Moonraker is still champagne cinema.
It sure is that.
Yeah. Tron is there's a lot of work in Tron. I remember growing up, I thought Tron was computer animated, and only found out as an adult even it's hand animated. It's traditional animation over the top of actors, much like Roger Rabbit, to a better effect later in the 80s.
Yeah, and there is a kind of almost madness in the process they went through when, it would really help if anyone listening to this basically just had a quick Google search of the original and looked at any frame from that movie, and just to acknowledge that every light had to be added in effectively by I suppose penned functionally anyway, frame by frame. The only thing I can think of that was that psychotic earlier was much earlier, the early films in the 30s, The Invisible Man, where they just cut him out frame by frame, which is mind-boggling.
Painstaking work.
Yeah, and speaking of holding up, that's something 100-year-old effects that hold up mostly pretty well. I guess before we move on to talking about because of course there was a sequel. We talk about the after effect and those sorts of things. Just focusing on the film itself, was it too soon? Were they trying to do things that couldn't be done?
Like, my opinion is that Tron is just not a good movie. The visuals of it are fine. Like, the visuals are the most interesting part of Tron as a concept.
Yes.
Is the visual look has always been unique and striking. It's one of the very few movies that you can see that look replicated on something, and it evokes Tron. That kind of wire netting, blue wire netting, neon lights, very cyberpunk before cyberpunk. And that was achieved in the original by like shooting the computer world characters, actors are shot in black and white and then painted over the top, as you said, or animated over the top. That is unique, and that took a lot of work to achieve. There's no movie there though. There's no story. The story of the original Tron is very fantasy by numbers.
Yeah, can you break down the plot for us, for anyone who hasn't seen it?
There is a Japanese term for it where like a person gets sucked into do you know what that word is?
Isekai.
Isekai.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know whether it fits the definition of an isekai, but it is a computer game developer is sucked into the computer, meets up with some of his, the programs designed by some of his co-workers, and has to work to bring down the main control program, I think, by inserting his memory disk into the CPU. I think it's a red tornado. But that's basically, it's a reduction of Lord of the Rings, but it's fantasy by
I was actually going to put it in with more of its contemporaries like Conan the Barbarian, except that's not isekai, of course, because he's in that world, he's from that world. And sorry, I should just explain, the isekai thing is about, if I have a head wrapped around this, it is about taking someone and putting them into a different world in whatever context that may be. That could be time travel, it could be a different country, and you could argue that when done well, it's very effective, especially for a sort of blockbuster movie, because they're the best protagonists.
Yeah.
The best protagonists are, depending on the film you're making, of course, ones who go, what is going on? So the audience learns with them.
It gives you a very elegant exposition device, because someone needs to explain the rules of this world to our protagonist. And I think it's gained a lot of relevance in the modern age with the rise of video game culture. The narrative that most fits the experience of playing a video game is an isekai. You're dropped into a fantasy world or whatever world, and you need to learn how it works. And so I think that is a narrative that now has more relevance than it did in the 80s, but it's been around for a while.
Yeah, and I like the idea of there's nothing wrong with it being simple. That's not inherently a problem, because I was just a moment ago comparing it to like Conan the Barbarian. And so you go on a quest, you go to the mountain and you stop the sorcerer with the MacGuffin and cut off James Earl Jones's head with a sword.
Yes.
And that's kind of what Tron was doing, is go to the mountain and do the thing.
Yeah,
take the thing to the thing, and
it's a quest movie. I think the issue that Tron has is its pacing. There are long silent scenes in Tron, and Star Wars doesn't have that. And by that point, blockbuster films had established a tone of like, no, things move pretty quick. We go straight from the opening introduction, Star Wars has the opening crawl, you can't copy that, but we start in media res. There's a gunfight going on, and then something else happens, and then we catch our breath, and then something else happens. So the pace needs to be quick, and Tron has no intention of doing that.
Yeah, it feels like they had the visual cues and the visual ideas, and then a very, very, very basic plot. And at some point, maybe they were halfway through production and said, did anyone actually write a script?
Yeah.
And actually think this out? And the most striking thing about the story that I can recall is how dull it was. It was that lack of pacing is, to me, apart from the visuals, the most striking thing was the poor pacing.
I would agree with you completely. Like, my impression of the first Tron is that like any still frame that if you get onto Google now, listener, well, not Google, your preferred search engine, and if you find an image of the original Tron, it's striking, and you won't see anything like it anywhere else. But that doesn't capture the Tron experience. The Tron experience is it's desperately boring to watch.
Yeah.
The action sequences have not held up. There are a lot, it's a lot like the Star Wars prequels. There are long exposition scenes where it's just two characters in an empty room talking to each other, and you can hear the echoes off the walls.
Oof. Yeah, because of course inside a computer you'd definitely be echoing.
Yeah. I mean, it's true to the universe it's created, but it just makes everything feel empty. I don't know whether there's many scenes in Tron where you have more than 3 or 4 actors in frame.
Yeah, and that it does feel like, it's funny, we'll try not to beat the Star Wars drum too much if we can avoid it, but it does feel very early 2000s, not just George Lucas, but a few of those directors who were going, a soundstage, green screen, we can just do this here. And it didn't work then. It didn't work in 1982. But again, I guess that's still the question, that were they so hung up on doing this technologically challenging thing that they didn't stop to think, should we have a compelling story? And I guess what I'm saying before is, was it too soon? Were they doing it too soon? Because if it was easier to do, they could have spent more time on the story and had more than 3 people in a room and all that sort of stuff.
Well, and maybe somebody in these Disney meetings might have said, hey, this is visually impressive, but is that enough? Whereas I think at this, like looking at Tron in the early 80s, I am sure I don't know whether Disney had executives back then. They probably did.
I believe they did.
I'm sure everyone was saying like, oh, we're going to print money with this. This is so unique. Which, I mean, that wasn't the case. It was not particularly a successful movie.
No, that's worth pointing out. So let's go back in time. It was a failure at the time, hence it took more than a while before a sequel came around. But Disney wasn't doing well at the time. And
no, this is the Disney Dark Age, hey?
That's right. For anyone, I suppose, I don't know, under 40, I guess, you probably, certainly under 30, Disney as functionally this big force of nature that swallows up intellectual properties.
Did we call it the Galactus of movies?
I believe. I think you coined that phrase very effectively. The Galactus. Yeah. So it was basically it is that now, and you go back to say the 40s and 50s, and there was a creative force. So you went from creative versus we'll swallow up the people who are creative and get them to do the work and crack the whip. And then in the 80s was this somewhere in between where they'd lost that creative flair, but they hadn't sort of an alternative for it. So they just kept going, we'll just try this and try that. And it wasn't too long until they started to pump a few out, like The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, the 90s they had, I can't remember, I think that's called the second Disney Golden Age. The run they had in the 90s where I think The Little Mermaid was the first one.
It was, yes.
I think, my girlfriend's been telling me how good Emperor's New Groove is. I've never seen it.
No.
And I think it is seen as the end of Disney's Golden Age. And when I say the end, I mean like the day before Emperor's New Groove is released is the end of Disney's Golden Age.
That's kind of the impression I was getting. Yeah. I also haven't seen it, but I know I've heard that Hercules was the last good one, but I haven't seen that one either. But certainly Lion King and Aladdin, of course, were the really, really big ones.
Yeah.
And even The Little Mermaid was massive. It got re-released. Something like, I don't know, its 10th anniversary or whatever it was. So there was some big films there. And certainly by the end of the 90s, it had dipped again. But that was Disney creating stuff.
Yes. Yeah. And then I think they started seeing that animation, like traditional animation, was costly. Risky. And they weren't getting and Pixar was running circles around what they were producing. Yep. I think that second golden age and the end of that has largely led to the Disney we have today, where it's they don't make, they take.
Yes, we should have that on a Disney T-shirt, I think.
Yeah. Adult Disney fans would love that. They like hearing criticism of Disney's business practices.
Yes, among many other things about Disney, which we won't get into here. That's not really the point of the episode. It's really about where was Disney, what they were trying to do. So this was them still trying to capture that creative motivations were still creative. We will make this film, but ultimately they were trying to emanate Star Wars. No, it won't be outer space. It'll be cyberspace or whatever they would have called it in the day. And as we say, it was complete
Even down the marketing is very Star Wars. Like the classic Tron poster, it's triangle on rectangle, that kind of what do you call that? Like a frame, like the text structures.
Yeah.
It's that kind of
Well,
composition.
yeah,
Composition is
there
what
you
I'm
go.
thinking of, and that's the Star Wars thing.
Yes,
Uh,
and they were painted posters too.
Yeah,
weren't they, from memory?
yeah. Which I mean, that wasn't unique to Star Wars. Indiana
No.
Jones did that as well, but it's how we get like the bunch of grapes posters now, where that's how you just have like actors' faces composited over each other with like everyone's looking serious, but no one's looking at each other. That's Tron and Star Wars. It's this era of marketing, and I think Tron was very Star Wars coded in its marketing. This is an adventure. It's a handsome young man going on an otherworldly adventure with groundbreaking special effects.
Yep, hero's journey.
Yeah.
But I can't remember a single compelling character. I mean, even the titular character Tron, I don't remember.
Oh, Tron's he's a non-entity in it. That's weird about this as well. Is the main character's name is Flynn.
Yes.
Tron is like, I don't even know. Tron's got the coolest name in the movie for sure. But the character of Tron is secondary. He's a friend of a friend. Yeah.
I can't even remember a single thing about Tron in Tron, and that's a problem.
That is a problem. There's a lot of that comes up, and I think there's a lot of Disney does not really know what Tron is.
And I think that's summed up particularly well when we jump ahead to the sequel.
Should we do that?
Let's do that. 2010. I didn't watch the sequel for quite a few years, and the reason why, this links back to a previous episode, which, as we're recording right now, is the most recent episode, the final from Series 0, the pilot series. We talked soundtracks, which was really interesting. The thing that drew me to, you talked about just dead empty space in the first film.
Yeah.
The second film, what they got right, and I would argue the strongest thing they had going for it was the soundtrack. I got into Daft Punk in a big way. I sort of came back to Daft Punk. Sort of knew them back in the day, of course.
Yeah.
And then I got back into them, I'm going to say about 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So then I found out, just clicking around probably on Wikipedia, I'm guessing, and went, whoa, they did the soundtrack for Tron Legacy.
They had a cameo in the movie as well.
They did, with the helmets.
They were heavily involved in the marketing of Tron Legacy as well. Like they were, it was being advertised as featuring music by Daft Punk.
I mean, they were massive at the time. Daft Punk were
that
huge.
was at the. I'm not going to say the height of their powers. I think
Close
their most recent album at that point was Human After All, and I think it had been out for, I'd say, 5 years, and it was kind of seen as not that good. But they had just got finished with their Alive tour, and that was huge. That's a glass pyramid. I've got friends who don't really care for music. They love that. They are jealous they didn't get to see the Daft Punk Alive 2007 tour. I have a cousin who climbed a fence to get into it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so I'm not going to name it because that's illegal. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But that was a huge deal. The 2007 Daft Punk tour, that was a stadium tour. That was like I'm not going to say Taylor Swift level, but
I mean, considering it's two French dudes in helmets doing dance music, that's massive.
Yeah, so that's a big get.
Okay.
And I think that was surprising for a Tron. I mean, a Tron sequel was surprising in and of itself because it was like, there's a joke in The Simpsons about Tron when Homer, the 3D episode where Homer becomes computer generated. So he's not attractive. He's not attractive anyway.
Yeah.
But it's not good looking. And he's asked to describe this vacuous world that he's found himself in, and he asks if anybody has seen Tron, and there's like 20 or 30 characters just going no.
Oh, I remember that now. That's correct.
And so that's the cultural footprint of Tron was like, there's a Strokes film clip that looks like Tron.
Family Guy did a bit on it.
Yeah, it's a cult classic, but it's not fondly regarded as like an underrated gem. It's sunk for a reason.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting to get a sequel to Tron. And that movie looks really good.
Yeah, the visuals. What I like about the Daft Punk music is not because I'm a Daft Punk fan. What I like about the Daft Punk music is because it matches the visuals so well.
Yeah.
The visuals and the, shall we say, soundscape were top-notch.
Absolutely. It's rather than having like this Everything is black and white, and there's splashes of neon colors on.
Mm.
Everything in Tron Legacy is like glassy. It's glossy, transparent, clean, but it does have like a mist over it. So everything has depth.
Mm-hmm.
And there are large crowd scenes as well.
Yes.
So it feels weird, but it does feel a little bit more alive.
Yeah, and there's this kind of it. I'll call it a bit of a paradox for the experience, because on the one hand, when you had the arena scenes, I guess I'll call them, it felt really, really live. But then there's these other scenes where you see them walking across great distances in voids where there just appears to be nothing.
Yeah.
So it goes between feeling like a real place and feeling utterly empty, which felt a little strange. It's like, are there just 4 people? I mean, I know there was a stadium a moment ago, but it feels like there was just 4 people here again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it didn't quite fit. It wasn't compelling, but it was more compelling than the original.
Yeah, and I think that's like as I said, my overall sense of the Tron movies is that Disney doesn't know what Tron is, because Tron is nothing. There's no like, okay, if we're accepting that computers, they go to watch battles for entertainment, like computer programs, sorry, why do we not get to know, like, who are these computer programs? Because the computer programs we see don't do things for entertainment. They have purposes, and they achieve their purposes, and they are talking about what their user wants and all this sort of stuff. And so there's this real disconnect between the characters and the world they live in.
Yeah. For some reason, something that just jumped in my mind then was Futurama, where all the robots are there, and they're theoretically built for a purpose, but then we extract comedy for them. But then there would just be odd ones like Hedonism, which has no purpose at all. But that's for comedy, so who cares?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I mean. It's like what is there's no sense of what is actually going on as far as like the mechanics of the world, and you don't need to spell it out. You don't need to break it down, but it just feels like this was a premise to get people into suits and do special effects.
What if we set it inside a computer and they've thought to themselves, this is for the 82 pitch. Computer programs, they need to achieve things. And what if there's a malicious program and they fight him? And like, that's fair enough. But you can't really then extrapolate that world to be like an alien civilization, because by the terms that they've set, it's not. It's constrained by what the users want. And so it doesn't hold up to any scrutiny. And also, it does feel empty and pointless. And there's no flavor to any of it.
No, that's right. And I'll give the sequel credit for, like I said a moment ago, it is more compelling. It's sort of this young fellow who wants to sabotage the company. It's like this could be his company, his legacy, but he actually, I can't even remember what his motivations were. He didn't like the company for some reason.
With the way the company, his dad has long since his dad. Oh Christ. Okay, so a brief synopsis of Tron Legacy.
If you could, please.
Yeah.
My brain hurts.
So the main character from the first movie, Flynn, has long since disappeared he's disappeared. We don't know where. Could it be the computer? Well, no, don't ask too many questions. His son has now grown up to be like stacked. He's ripped because he's a Disney leading man. He's the shape of a triangle. And he is unhappy with the way his father's company is being run. And so he is sabotaging it because he's not involved in the business side of things.
This evil corporation is doing evil corporation-y things.
Yeah.
So.
And he then finds himself sucked into the world of Tron as well, where he reunites with his long estranged father, who has grown old in the world of Tron. At some point, he meets up with a romantic interest, who is a program who, at the end of the movie, finds her way out into the real world. I don't know how any of this makes sense.
Yeah. What makes sense is we need a female love interest in here, so make sure you put one in there.
Well, it's good that they had a female character in this one, because there was a female character in the first one, but she was not in it for very much.
Yeah, I was going to say, I do remember there being one. I can't recall the
I think
thing
her
about
job.
it.
I think she's like the anti-Bechdel test in the first one. Her job is to talk to nobody.
Yeah.
She is just to express through facial expression how much she likes the male characters.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Thank goodness, because if she wasn't there, wow, where would the film have
Yeah.
gone? Oh God. Okay. So, and also, if you have sort of sexy people, you can go to a nightclub, and then you can have Daft Punk in the
Yeah.
to do their cameo.
Which why do computer programs have a nightclub?
Yeah, and then Tron has actually been evil the whole time.
Yeah, he's been corrupted by who's the bad guy in the film? Oh, it's the Flynn has created a version of himself to.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so we get the de-aged Jeff Bridges,
Oh.
and that does not look good. For as good as the special effects look in Tron Legacy, de-aging special effects weren't. I mean, they're never good. But they weren't good then, as they were particularly not good then.
They were in their infancy, technologically speaking. Yeah, okay.
So yeah, and he had the character of Tron had been corrupted. We still don't ever see his face. He's a non-presence in this one as well.
I don't get why. I mean, I don't want to ask too many of these questions because we're just going to go around in circles. But I'm just going. But why? Why would you call it Tron? Tron's pivotal to it, but then
it's a cool word. Why would you not call the Matrix the Matrix? It's a cool word. I think that's it.
Yeah, but at least I know what the hell the Matrix is and what the Matrix has to do with the world of the Matrix in the Matrix.
Because the Wachowskis care, and I think the Wachowskis had a premise that they wanted to flesh out.
That's what we come back to, isn't it? The idea that someone came up with these cool visual ideas and a concept, and then there's nothing to join.
No, this is, and I think it's very 80s. Hyper consumerism where like Transformers it's garbage, kids will buy it anyway. He-Man is garbage, kids will buy it anyway. It's very cynical, and I think Tron is that. Which is odd because so much effort was put into animating it, like creating it initially, the 1982 one.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, go on.
But why then, I accept all of that and I agree completely. Why then make a sequel in 2010?
I mean, I've got theories. Do you care to partake?
Throw your strongest theory at me.
Okay. Tron Legacy had a huge toy marketing push. There were so many toys. Disney thought they had something very special with Tron Legacy. It's also, maybe coincidentally, maybe not, also 5 years after the most recent Star Wars prequel. Sorry, the Star Wars prequels had wrapped up, and so there was a void. A void to be
sci-fi.
And Joseph Kosinski, the director of Tron Legacy, he is a talent. I don't particularly like his movies. He did Tron Legacy, and then he did a movie with Tom Cruise called Oblivion, which
I saw that. Yeah, talk about empty movies.
That's a very empty movie. That movie is an empty room with a rotating fan on. There's not much going on in that movie.
No.
But most recently he directed Top Gun Maverick and
a much better Tom Cruise film.
A much better Tom Cruise, and he has that movie is well directed. The action scenes in that movie are very kinetically satisfying. You get a very strong sense that you are moving through space with your character, that you're meant to be feeling the tension that they feel. From the strength, or based on the strength of Top Gun Maverick's performance, it did very well as a legacy sequel. He's directed the F1 movie with Brad Pitt, and based on the trailer for it, it's repeating the same tricks that Top Gun Maverick did, where we're in the driver's seat with Brad Pitt, and we can hear him breathing heavily and his head shaking, but we can also see behind him the track flying past and all that sort of stuff. So he's a talented director, and there's plenty. I think directorially, Tron Legacy is very strong.
Yes.
I think as a story, it's very weak.
Yes, it sounds like 2010. They said, what do we do? I felt there's a room of Disney people.
Yeah.
What do we do? Do you want to go try buying Star Wars? No, not yet. We'll do that in a couple of years. And I think by that stage they'd bought Marvel by then, wouldn't they? By 2010 they would have, wouldn't they?
Goodness. I don't think so. No, I would say, because Iron Man's 2008, We don't get Avengers until 2012.
Okay.
And I think that sale happened after Avengers.
Okay, so they were on the cusp of let's buy everything on the planet.
I think they didn't have Star Wars at this stage. They didn't have Marvel. They didn't have Fox.
So they were sitting there going, "What do you want to do? Oh, we could do a Tron Legacy, Tron sequel, and let's really do this right this time. Let's get the right ingredients. Let's put Daft Punk in there. Let's put a good director in there. Let's get some good visuals."
As you alluded to before, I think they accept, and we'll come back to this. I think they accept that first movie is empty. There is so much sound stage noise in that movie. And so the soundtrack for a Tron movie is very, important. And yeah, they course corrected. They made a better version of the original movie.
Yeah, which is what a legacy sequel is very appropriately named.
Yeah.
So they got all the ingredients right, but because the concept was so flawed in the beginning, it still dragged it down.
Oh yeah, and it didn't do very well because no one cares about Tron.
Yeah.
It's like you could do a legacy sequel to... I was trying to think of a reference that no one's heard of.
Kroll.
With the glaive, the 5 finger...
you know Kroll. Oh my God. Kroll Legacy.
No.
Yeah, and then he'll be there, the older statesman.
Yeah.
Here, have this thing.
Yeah, he's handing the glaive over to his son, but being very careful because it'd be very easy to injure yourself.
Yes, because it's a very impractical weapon. Now, I can just sense someone in the future madly tapping away. What the hell is Kroll?
Well, I was trying to think of a reference that no one would have heard of. No one's heard of it.
Yeah.
It's like the number of people who had seen the original Tron is very slim.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're marketing a legacy sequel to a movie that very few people care about, very few people are going to turn up.
I'm reminded of a legacy sequel. Do you remember The Mask of Zorro with Antonio Banderas in the 90s?
I do.
And that was a very loving tip of the hat to the old... I think there were TV series and movies, or maybe it's made for TV films, I'm not sure. And you had Anthony Hopkins, if memory serves, as the older...
Yeah.
And he passes it down. So Banderas is the new Zorro, so he's passing the torch. But you didn't need to see the originals. People were going... I mean, I remember as a kid at the time going, "Oh yeah, I know of Zorro, but who cares?"
Yeah.
But look, they've made this fun adventure film. Let's go along and do it.
And I
so
think
maybe that's what they're trying to do with Legacy. It's like, oh, maybe you don't know it, but you'll go along anyway.
I think there's an argument to be like, Zorro had a strong enough cultural presence where if you hadn't seen a Zorro movie, you knew what Zorro was. You knew that he did the Z with his sword. Similarly, like the first Mission Impossible movie is a legacy sequel to the Mission Impossible TV series.
And the thing is, it took me years before it wasn't until the second movie came out that I think my parents said, there was a TV series, right? And even the theme song is from that as well. I went, really?
Yeah.
But of course, we just went to see a good movie with a star back when stars drew people to the cinemas.
And it's a cool theme song. It looks like a cool movie, whereas Tron looks like a bunch of stuff. It looks like you need to have done your homework.
Things definitely happen in Tron.
Yeah.
It's stuff.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to understand this. I haven't seen the first one.
Well said. I think we've answered those questions. Here's the next one. Why in the pink fit of buggery would you then decide to make a third one, which is apparently due out in, I think, October of this year?
Are you asking me?
Yes. Answer me, Nate. Tell me why on earth.
I don't. Okay. I think there is a world in which a Tron movie can be made successfully. I don't think the movie that they are currently making is going to be successful at all.
I saw that one of the 8 producers, because that's always a good sign.
Yeah. You know what they say about like too many cooks makes a great dish?
Yes. That old expression.
Yeah, that expression that we all,
The general sign of lots of producers can sometimes also be where someone does some producing, in whatever terms that may be, in pre-production.
Yeah.
They leave the production, but they still get their name on it because they still want...
They did some work.
Yeah, so they still get the money attached. Someone else comes in. So when you have 8 different production companies or 8 different names attached, that can be that it's been in development hell. I know that this has been on the cards for at least a few years, so that could be a part of it. But one of the producers is Jared Leto, and now I'm very sad and confused.
He's also the lead and the co-titular character, my understanding is. But here's the thing. Everybody knows so little about this movie. There's been one trailer. The trailer, I mean, The trailer is a mystery wrapped in an enigma, smothered in secret sauce. It is, but not in a way that's appealing. It's not a teaser trailer. It is like a, I don't know, put me to death trailer. Like put me down trailer.
Oh dear.
We talked earlier about how important it is for a Tron movie to have a good soundtrack.
Yes.
And the thing that I've seen most people online show interest in is that this movie's soundtrack is by Nine Inch Nails.
Right. Okay. Interesting choice.
How does that news strike you?
I remember, I think David Lynch's Dune had Toto as for the soundtrack, and that was equally perplexing.
Yeah.
I mean, Nine Inch Nails are interesting, and I think, oh yeah, because they could definitely do something with this. Some of their songs have that kind of driving cyberpunky kind of sound, but I think I have more questions really than upon hearing that.
My thoughts are Trent Reznor as like he is Nine Inch Nails.
Mm-hmm.
He's been making soundtracks like very prolifically for the last couple of decades.
Right.
And incredible soundtracks, Academy Award-winning soundtracks. Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, they did I think it's Atticus Ross. Christ, I hope I haven't just given the name of a men's rights influencer by mistake. Crikey. I think it's those two. But they did the soundtrack for Social Network. So they've done a lot of David Fincher soundtracks.
Right.
They did the soundtrack for Challenges last year. So he is good at soundtracks. But this is not Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross. This is Nine Inch Nails. And so that's a key distinction to me, is that this is not a soundtrack. This is an album full of bangers. It's a Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah. For marketing purposes.
For marketing, that's it.
Yeah.
And that strikes me as very cynical.
It's on brand.
It's on brand because they did the same thing with Daft Punk, and that kind of ruins. It makes me feel like a little bit cheap and tawdry for buying the Daft Punk thing in 2010 when I was like, oh, they got Daft Punk. It's like, yeah, with enough money you could get Daft Punk. With enough money you could get Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, I mean, the Transformers, I think the second Transformers movie had Linkin Park doing the soundtrack at the peak of their powers. And I'm a big Linkin Park fan, but you know, but anyway.
Money will get you access.
Yes.
But the most perplexing thing about this trailer, I think, is, as I said earlier, I've said about both movies, the strongest thing they have going for them is their visuals. This movie is set in the real world. This movie is set in our world, not the computer world, but computer elements invade our world. That's the impression I get from the trailer, because the majority of the trailer is set in our world.
Okay.
It appears to be a lot more violent and confrontational. It's the color tone seems to be very red. The color palette, very red for this one, whereas it has been green and blue.
Yes.
So it looks to be this is a more, when I say mature, I mean 15-year-old boy mature, not adult mature.
Yeah.
Yeah. The kind of mature that gets into angry music and swears at dad.
Yeah. It's not kids stuff, therefore it's mature. Philosophy.
Yeah, edgy more than mature.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Which, that sounds bad, but Jared Leto's presence in this, like that.
How did you describe him just a little bit before? Jared Leto was good. First of all, you said it was a spice.
He's good. He's good flavor in somebody else's movie. So he's very good in Dallas Buyers Club, but that's not his movie. He's very good in Blade Runner 2049, also not his movie. Very good in American Psycho, not his movie. When he's given a movie, he sucks so much. He is so innately unlikable as a presence on screen. He's too pretty, and he's too articulate. He's too mannered. Everything about him seems so contrived. And I mean, those are my personal feelings, but it bears out. He has never led a successful blockbuster. He's never been a leading man.
All I can see are images of him in his Joker makeup, and that makes me sad.
They've tried this before. They've tried to make a leading man of Jared Leto before, and he keeps sending his. I mean, Suicide Squad's a great example. He killed that movie. Like, that movie's not good. He was the most toxic element of that movie's marketing.
Yeah, and I know they had to re-edit that film significantly around what they, well, partly because of what they got from him, and also studio notes. And it sounds like behind the scenes, he's a bit of an interesting character, to put it mildly.
Yeah.
It's method acting, man. Nah, at some point that's just kind of
he sounds
toxic
like he's got
and abusive.
a god complex.
Yeah.
He's got a cult of fans that from his band that follow him. He dresses like Jesus. He does dress really nicely for Met Gala stuff. He's got good fashion sense. Credit where credit's due.
Cool.
Relevant.
Yeah. Not going to make me go see Tron.
No, and that's the thing. Like, if the larger question is why does Disney keep trying?
They own Star Wars now.
I mean, yeah, but
Well, okay, they've crushed it. Yeah, but 5 years ago, which is roughly when they were... Actually, I think it's even more than 5 years ago. I feel like it was last decade they were talking about this third film.
Oh, they sowed the seeds for the sequel in Tron Legacy. Cillian Murphy has a cameo in that movie, and he is being set up as the antagonist for the third.
Oh my God, I've actually completely forgotten that.
Yeah, because
Because it was Tron Legacy.
Tron Legacy. Yeah.
I only saw it last year.
It came out in 2010. I last saw it in 2010.
Oh, I saw it last year and I already forgot that.
Right,
so, when they were talking about, I'm pretty sure this thing entered pretty gung-ho pre-production late last decade as well, when Star Wars was in full swing. So you don't need a sci-fi franchise. It's not like, we got to make it because we got the rights to it, so you got to justify that.
They made this. The rights aren't going to revert to anybody.
Yeah, it's like some idiot paid $400 million for the rights to The Exorcist.
What?
So yeah, The Exorcist movie. There's a new Exorcist movie last year.
I assume there's a new Exorcist movie every year.
Surprisingly, there's not.
Okay,
but somebody who cares? Someone paid $400 million for the rights to The Exorcist. They made one movie trying to set up a new trilogy, and because it didn't immediately make crazy amounts of money, because horror always makes $1 billion, sure.
Yeah.
They eventually said, stuff it. I think they're just going to do a complete reboot because they panicked because they'd spent $400 million. And of course, you've only got whatever it is, X amount of years to get the profit. So you need to, for example, if you make a $50 million movie and it makes 200, which is in the horror realm of things.
That's fair, yeah.
You go, all right, but you need to make 300 from that one because you need to make an extra 100 to help pay off, and the next one needs an extra 100 to pay off, and so on and so forth. So that's an issue for people with right. It was the death of the Terminator franchise 3 times. That bugger will not stay down. But this is not the case here. Disney own it, and they can take their time, which they have, which is why we've got 3 films in 40 years. So
why do they keep trying?
I think we aren't going to answer this question
because I mean, I would bet money Tron Ares does not make its money back. We'll never know because of Disney Plus.
Yeah, true.
It's going to go to streaming, and we'll never find out. Like it will, but it's going to have a disappointing cinematic release.
Yeah. That's an interesting conversation, which I'll only mention very briefly here. I'm conscious of time. But yeah, the idea that, a film's not doing well, shunt it onto streaming, and then we never see those figures, therefore we never know if it's a thing's a success.
We'll know in 20 years if we've gotten away without a 4th Tron movie.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, you won't know. Others you'll usually know because the sequel that was planned was immediately cancelled. We go, well, there's the answer.
That's what happened with Tron Legacy. They're like, we've got a sequel lined up. We've got Cillian Murphy's going to be the main antagonist. And then a couple of years later, like, we're not doing that anymore because Tron Legacy was not the success we wanted it to be.
Is he attached?
No, I don't think he's in this.
Because you think he might be after...
Surely not. Unless they're paying him, like...
Infinity dollars.
Yeah, unless they're paying him real, like, retire to Mars money. Like, that's...
Well, okay, from his point of view, but I'm thinking he was in Oppenheimer.
Yeah, he's an Academy Award winner now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a truckload of money might convince him, and maybe they went, if we bring him back, maybe that was a thing to give it a final kick.
For all the people like yourself who remembered he was in Tron Legacy.
But then again, you see, speaking of legacy sequels, you see the recent trilogy of the Halloween movies, and they'll get someone back who's like the nurse that you see for 8 seconds and then gets killed in Halloween 2 back in 1978. And they bring her back for an extended cameo in the second one. What are you talking about? No one remembers that character. Even that actor doesn't remember she was in that movie.
True fans would appreciate it, I guess.
I guess.
Is it worth breaking the pace of your movie to like that? Yeah, that stuff is difficult to do properly, and that's we don't want to dig up Star Wars' dead body and beat it around anymore. But like that stuff did kill both prequel and sequel trilogy, where you're like, let's pause the action for a little bit because Chewbacca's back.
Yeah, and I think, just as an additional to our last episode too, when you said something about Chewbacca dying, and I went,
oh, in the books.
No, wasn't it? Maybe you mentioned something about a major character dying. I can't remember what it was, and I went, really? But I'd even forgotten that from the Disney movies. You mentioned something about a significant character, something significant happening. So you can't even remember what it was either.
I remember. I don't know whether we had that conversation on microphone.
Oh, maybe not. But I do remember. You remember saying something about it was the Star Wars. It was the Disney movies. Something significant happening. You know, I was going, wow.
Oh yeah, no, I remember we were talking about like in Rise of Skywalker, Chewbacca is on that prison that ship that Rey then blows up with her lightning because she's cranky. She's having a cranky fit.
And I'd completely forgotten that entire scene you just described. It was completely out of my brain.
That is the conclusion of both of our episodes together going to be that Rise of Skywalker sucks. It's like all roads lead here. No matter what conversation we had, we end up like we just come back to this one point. But didn't Rise of Skywalker suck? That's where we're drawn to.
Yeah,
we're not bitter.
No, well, actually, I will conclude by saying despite some of the passion in the conversation, I'm not angry at Disney for doing it. I don't care. I'm perplexed.
Yeah, I'm not angry. I'm so confused.
You ruined this perfect thing. No, it was never good. We're just trying to understand this thing.
I think there's potential there, but none of these movies have ever realized that potential. And so like I don't care. I'm just confused. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why we haven't gotten a legacy sequel to so many Disney properties. Why have we not had a Cool Runnings 2? Let's catch up with those guys. What happened to them?
They could computer generate John Candy and put him in there.
I don't like that idea, but they could.
But it's Disney.
I don't like it. They could. They probably would. Yeah.
Track record.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
But like, no, I'm not angry. I'm just I'm confused.
Yeah, if we loved the first movie and then this stuff happened, then it'd be, hey, we wanted to be there for you, Disney, and you let us down. Yeah. But it's just a lot of Tron ? With a shrug emoji. I think is where we're at.
Yeah.
All right, I think we better wrap things up there, and we'll come back next time to talk about Rise of Skywalker.
Eventually, yeah. We'll see what path we wander down to get there, but I guess it's fate.
Yeah.
It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Perfect. Believe it. Thank you, Nate. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me again.
Cheers.